What's up, y'all? Philyfli Show checking in, kicking in at Right Way Production Studios, and we are back for another week. This week is UFC pay-per-view 313. I totally wrote 314 because right before I wrote this down, I watched the press conference for 314. It's 313 here. Glad I caught that mistake right off the bat here. But Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Now, finally get to see this light heavyweight showdown get underway here because it's been about a year in the making that these two have been talking and running their mouth at each other, and it's just been a bunch of hubbub. But last week we had a quick little review here of UFC Fight Night with Manel Kape and Ankalaev, and so Philyfli Show did something a little different, added a couple extra picks there. So for normal moneyline picks, we were out of the 10 fights, we went 5 for 10, which wasn't that great, but out of the 14 picks there, we went 8 for 14, so I was pretty happy with that. Again, with Manel Kape, what he showed me, I'll quickly say because I was kind of dogging him a little bit last podcast. I still just don't see the guy that's going to compete with Alejandro Pantoja. The grappling's going to be too much. He won't commit to his strikes, and it's going to look like an ugly fight. Here, he showed a little better because he didn't have any fear that he was actually going to get taken down. Asu definitely needs to get back to the gym and hit the bags, man, because you did not look like any grappler that I know. You look like you just wanted to throw strikes instead of grapple, which was the worst idea that you could have ever done. But there's one thing. The Rebovich fight was really, really good. Cody Brundage was great. But my biggest disappointment was Charles Johnson. Sorry, man. You are going to be in the doghouse for betting for the next couple of your fights unless you revamp your career. Because that was just an epically bad showing against Tamirov. And you should have beat that guy. So that was very upsetting stuff. But last week, too, also quick, Douglas Silva de Andrade had a dropout, it sounds like. John Castaneda got a new fight booked for this week. So he'll be on this fight card, hopefully, because his fight didn't go through last week. But we'll jump into it here. We're going to go back here. UFC 313. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. What a showdown. Not only do we get that, we get the amazing co-main event of Justin the Highlight Gaethje versus Rafael Saviv, or Fazeev. Totally screwed up his name there. Craziness, and I'm just going to do a little foreshadowing here. How is Rafael Fazeev the favorite by as much as he is? That's kind of crazy. That's a little foreshadowing to later in the show, but we got 12 match leg here. I did not go a decision or KO on a bunch of these because I was not super confident in a lot of these fights. A lot of these are some even fights. I'm super excited for this fight card. Even though 314 is way more stacked, this is still an amazing card. And it's in Las Vegas, so anytime the fighters go to Vegas, we get a show. And we always get some big highlights, so let's jump into it here. We got 12 legs here. Jump into the middleweight division. We get Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. It's a middleweight fight here. 195 or negative 195 on Santos, plus 165 on Diaz. You know, I wasn't super thrilled with what I seen in the on the Diaz side for his prospect ability, but Santos, man, that guy's coming up. I really like what he's got to show, so I went with the negative 195 on Santos and 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. Not a lot knowing about each of these fighters, so it's kind of hard to make a full evaluation, but I think Jordan can get that get a big W there in this UFC fight to start off the night. Now, these are early prelims. I always bet the early prelims. I tend to do really well in the early prelims. It's more of that freaking main event that gives me the troubles lately. Featherweight bout here between Chris Gutierrez and John Castaneda. Gutierrez is a bantamweight fighter, but he's kind of big on the bantamweight side, on his size. He's like 5'9" or something, which is pretty big for bantamweight. So him to move up to featherweight is no slouch or no joke. He can still compete. John Castaneda, I swear he fights at that. Let's look here. I actually can look because I have him on last week's card really quick. It was a catchweight bout, so either he fights at 135 and will go up to 145, or both these guys just came in at 145 because it's a 1 week fight. Chris Gutierrez is negative 115 favorite, whereas John's a negative 105. Pretty much a pick 'em here, but I'm going to go Chris Gutierrez. I just think his MMA skill set is going to be way, way too much for John. This is a big step up in competition for John, so if he gets a W here, it's a very, very, very big W for John, but don't see that happening. 1 out of 5, though, on the confidence level that Chris Gutierrez gets his hand raised. All right, we'll stay in the featherweight division. It's match leg number 10. Maran Santos versus Francis Marshall. Now, Francis Marshall is a plus 230 underdog, whereas Maran is a negative 280 favorite. The difference for me, even though I think Francis has more UFC fights, is that Marion's skill set is just really, really superb. He's got good striking that mixes with grappling, whereas Francis is more on the freestyle side. So that could be a downfall for him, being more on the freestyle side. But I'm gonna go Marion here. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. I just think the well-roundedness is gonna be too much for Francis. All right, match leg number 9, we'll jump to the welterweight division. We get Alex Morono and Carlos Leal. Carlos is a negative 800 favorite, and I just want to make sure I got this pulled up here before I say this. Yeah, he made his UFC debut against Fakhrinov back in October. Didn't go so well for him. He took a loss in the decision. And Alex Morono is a UFC vet that you just don't slouch with, so even though Carlos is a negative 800, I think this fight's a little scarier on the betting side for me. I wouldn't go Alex Morono winning just because he hasn't looked like fully himself. But you get a guy who's not as experienced versus an experienced guy. That experienced guy can easily just win a 3-round fight and get to the decision 30 to 27. For me, I think what Alex has been struggling with is better strikers. So if Leal is going to prove himself to be the better striker, it's going to be against a guy like Alex Moreno. So I'm going to go negative 800 with Carlos Leal, but only 2 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised after this fight. They are the same size, which is super nice. Usually if Alex is the bigger guy, he can dominate a little. So that's again, if you haven't been paying attention these first 4 fights for prelims, decent competition. Now we're going to get into the heart of the prelims. Match leg number 8, middleweight fight. Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. Armen is a negative 135 favorite versus Bruno's a plus 115 underdog. Dude, Armen gets in his own head and tries to dominate guys in their own field because he's more of a grappler, but he can strike. He's not like an elite striker, but he's a very good striker. I think that'll be his downfall. If he tries to get in a striking match with Bruno Ferreira, that's going to be a long and bad night for him, especially because he's been on the losing end here the last 2 fights on the Armen side. Bruno, yeah, he had a little bit of a slip-up, I think was his last fight here. My phone always is slow right when I click a button or I need it. On the podcast, always. Yeah, he did. He lost to Abus Magomed. He got submitted. He did beat 2 decent guys, but he also fought Rubovic. So the guy's got experience. And then you get Armen, who I just got to pull up his last 2 fights. He lost to Sabu Magomedov and Vera, but he got knocked out by Magomedov, and then oh, no, that was Shariah Magomedov. My bad. Didn't read the first name there. And then Rolfo Vera submitted him in the fight before. Yeah, that's just not good. Bruno is a good, decent grappler, but I just think he's got power and good elite striking, too. I've watched him in his last couple fights. He's put it on dudes. Yeah, I'm going Bruno Ferreira, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. All right, match link number 7 is kind of weird to throw a flyweight fight in here at this point. Now, it is Joshua Van and Ray, how do you say this last name? Ray Tesora. Now, Ray's a plus 145 underdog, and Joshua Van's a negative 175 favorite. Joshua is a great striker that does not get tired. It's insane. He has the same pace from round 1 to round 3. We haven't seen him in a 5-round fight, so if he gets in a 5-round fight, I'd love to see if he can go 5 rounds with that type of pace. But his boxing is just superb, and his grappling defense is up there with some of the very good guys. Haven't seen it against some elite guys, whereas Ray's almost known for being an elite grappler. I think that part's going to be the bad part for Josh. I think he's finally going to get somebody else that just tires him out and puts him out. He did lose to the guy kind of dogged at the beginning of the show for his last fight here on Charles Johnson, but that was a fight he got knocked out in, and Charles Johnson went on a small little tear after that, so it's no slouch there. But yeah, I'm going to go Ray here. I'm going to go with the grappling guy over the boxer, just because in the flyweight division it seems like the grapplers end up tending to overpower the strikers. So 1 out of 5 on the confidence level there that the underdog gets his hand raised. All right, match leg number 6, featured prelim bout, is a heavyweight bout between Curtis Blades and Ruzan Kunanev. Now, Kunanev is taking a big step up in skill here fighting Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is gatekeeping right now, and I don't see Curtis Blades losing this fight. I think he gets a dominating win. I would pick a finish by Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is a negative 360 favorite, whereas Rizvan is a plus 270 underdog. Rizvan's going down, guys. No way does he freaking win against Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is just going to beat him down. Pick a finish and pick it fast. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Curtis gets his hand raised. We jump to the main card of the night, folks. We have no extras for this card, and we have no parlay for this. So this is just strictly pick'ems, and you pick your own parlays this week. But we'll jump into it. We have 3 lightweight fights on here, 1 strawweight female fight, and the main event is a light heavyweight championship fight. So we'll start with the first lightweight fight, match leg number 5, Bobby King Green versus Mauricio Hufi. Now, Hufi is a negative 475 favorite, as he should be. Bobby King Green plus 340. Dude, Bobby King Green, he's got hands. He can put you out. You cannot overlook a Bobby King Green fight. But Mauricio Hufi, he's well-rounded all around. He's not losing this fight. This is Bobby's kryptonite as a guy that's well-rounded like this. So pick Mauricio Hufi all night. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised. The reason I only put it at 3 out of 5, Bobby King Green's hands, he lands. Sometimes you go nighty-night. So there is that puncher's chance for Bobby Green, but I don't see it happening against Mauricio Hufi. All right, match leg number 4 is a strawweight female fight. It is a banger, guys. This is one that you do not want to miss. Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. Yasmin is a negative 140 favorite, whereas Amanda Lemos plus 120 underdog. You could go whatever way you want on this fight. This is a pick'em to me. The difference for me here is that Amanda Lemos just, I don't know if it's her confidence. I don't know what it is this part of her career, but she is on a skid and she has not looked the same since she fought for the title. Yasmin Lucinda has fought 4 super high level athletes, and she has beaten all 4 of them. I do not see Lucinda losing this fight, even though how close it is. Amanda Lemos is one of the most power strikers they got in the strawweight division. Well, right under her, number 2, is Yasmin Lucinda. She is right there. Not only that, though, both girls can grapple at a very high level, so I have a feeling this is going to be a stand-up fight, and somebody's lights are going out. That's my small prediction. Yasmin by finish. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right. Match leg number 3 is another lightweight division fight between Jalen the Spider Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes. If you don't know who Ignacio Bahamondes is by now, in 2020, this dude landed a spinning heel kick inside a phone booth / inside the guard of somebody. It's never really been seen before. We've seen guys be very close, but they're technically on the outside of it. He was inside the guard with 4 seconds left, And he was losing that fight. I'm pretty sure he was losing that fight. And he landed that crazy kick, knocked dude out. It was awesome. And you get Jalen Spider Turner, who did a 6'3", just monster for the lightweight division. And he has had a little bit of a slip up here. So Ignacio -130, Jalen Turner +115. It was hard for me to pick. I just think that Ignacio is going to finally meet his match in a guy that can grapple and strike, and that might be what holds him back. Now, this stays up standing. Ignacio has any chance to win just as much as Jalen Turner. I think they're both on the same level of striking. It just comes down to grappling then, and Jalen has the edge. So I went with Jalen there. 1 out of 5, though, that Jalen gets his hand raised. That's a banger fight, guys. Do not miss that fight. Just do not miss this whole card, but certain ones, keep your eyes glued to the TV. And then we get to the co-main event here. Man. Lightweight bout between Justin the Highlight Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. The odds are just different everywhere. When I wrote this down, Gaethje was a +130 underdog. Rafael Fiziev a -155 favorite. When I looked 5 minutes ago, not even 5 minutes ago, like 2 minutes ago when I was talking with you guys, it's already moved up to 165 on the app that I was looking at for Fiziev, and then only 135 for Gaethje, which he should be 140 at least, or even 145. But the odds keep going up, man. Fiziev is a monster too, but you're going to say that he's going to come out and beat Justin, just like that? Just because Justin got knocked out his last fight, dude? That's the highlight, man. He ain't going to sleep again. He's probably going to come out and put on a show just because everyone's been talking about him and he didn't like how his last fight went. I'm going with the underdog here. I'm going with the highlight, Justin Gaethje. He's been in camp for however many weeks going for a fight, and Dan Hooker had to pull out because of an injury. That shit happens all the time. Fiziev, I don't know if he's fully been in camp, but I know Justin has, so I'm going to go with the guy who's been in a full camp too. Highlight gets a W here, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised. And then we get to our main event of the evening, boys and girls. Alex Poatan Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Ankalaev -105. Pereira -115, depending on where you look. I've seen it different in so many spots. I've seen Pereira as a -105, and I've seen Ankalaev as high as -120, and Pereira is +100. It really does depend on where you go on that one. So when I wrote these ones down, this is what my app I used had. If you didn't know, now you know. Light heavyweight championship bout. My little thing here is there's people going around saying that the UFC is just dogging Ankalaev because only trying to get him to fight during Ramadan and blah, 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 hoo-ha, higgity-ha. Nobody cares about any of that actual BS, all right? Because Alex even put out there, I don't even know when this interview was. This interview was probably a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And Alex even said he's not participating in Ramadan. He already knew that. Not right now, not while he's training. He got told he doesn't have to, and he can put off for it just to fight for the title. And then he's talking, it's going to be a stand-up fight. I'm not going to wrestle. And then about 1 week ago, he changes his tune. It's like, yeah, it's going to be all about wrestling now. We knew that game plan, too. That's like just dumb. And then the way Ankalaev was in that press conference where he had a guy come in there and ask a really dumb question like, when you dominate Pereira, is he going to go back to working at a tire shop? You think that dude, just because if he did lose to you, would go back to working at a tire shop? You're not even funny, dude. You're about as bright as a freaking dead light bulb, buddy. It was one of the worst comments I've ever seen. And it just makes me just see that he's just terrified. He knows what's going to happen. Jan Blachowicz, when these two fought for a championship, who is a wrestler and has good hands, was leg kicking Ankalaev to death. It was 28 or 29 landed leg kicks, and Ankalaev couldn't stand on his one leg because a guy who never threw a leg kick really before just started throwing them against you, and you don't think Alex Pereira, the king of leg kicks, is not going to take your leg off in the first couple kicks? This fight's not going to last very long. Alex Pereira will damage his legs, either end him by leg kicks, or because he damages his legs so much, he's going to be able to land with those hands, and you see what Alex does when he touches you. The only person who didn't get beat up that bad right away was Khalil Roundtree and Israel Adesanya. Ankalaev, you ain't beating him on Saturday. You're getting your ass whooped, and it's going to be pretty, and I'm going to love and point and laugh the whole time. Let's go, Potan. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Potan gets his hand raised. All right, y'all. Philyfli Show's going to check out here because we've been talking way too long about these fights, but it's a good pay-per-view, so do not miss it. Shout out to River Production Studios for always making this happen, and we will see you next week.